this is, as you can tell by the title, Orcust, Fiendsmith, Bystial. I'll explain to you what I wanted to do with Bystials, to be honest with you, because you have cards like, Lubellion, which can just get you the brand regain for advantage. Especially since you're banishing quite a few Orcust cards. To be able to put it back and draw a card is still pretty good. Regenerate that advantage in your hand, draw into more hand traps, whatever. But you don't have to play that version. I don't play that version. So, we will see. We're going to get into it, though. As you can tell, first card is Girsu. You got to play 3. He's the main card that you want to see. 3 Heart Pourer. 3 Symbol Skeleton. You don't have to play 3 Symbol Skeleton. You actually play 2. But with the releasing of Galatea and what it does, Galatea is now a full combo. Because it's Galatea, link this, summon that, summon Galatea, and do what you need to do. Unfortunately, Galatea can't be used for Nexi summon, and you can only link summon her once per turn. So if you don't have another card, it's kind of sucky. Which is why I think Symbol Skeleton can go down to 2, maybe even 1 at times. Because the way I play the deck, my Heart Pourer will summon out the Symbol Skeleton, and that's really all I need. So, but that's the way I do my lines, actually. Not all I need, but that's how I do my lines. So I might cut it down to 2 at some point, but we will see. 1 Brass Bombard, hell, you could probably even play 0, but unfortunately, that card is kind of needed. If you open a mixture of these, especially if you open up the Heart Pourer plus Symbol Skeleton, Heart Pourer can just special summon the Brass Bombard, and this way, when Brass Bombard's in the graveyard, you can get out Symbol Skeleton. So that's the way I see it, is that you have to play 1 Brass Bombard. You don't want to play any more than that, because the card's awful other than that. 1 Nightmare, 1 World Legacy World Crown, 1 World Legacy World 1, 1 Babel, 1 Return, and 2 Crescendos. So everyone plays 1 Babel. The Orchestrated Return is a little bit different than most other deck profiles. I feel like it's good. Especially if you open up, say, that 1 copy of Brass Bombard plus another Orcust monster. You can Orchestrated Return, pitch the Brass Bombard, draw 2 cards, Brass Bombard, banish, summon the Orcust monster. You don't have a normal summon. I feel like it's a good way to play around Nib. Your opponent nibs you, say you have a normal summon. You can normal summon and continue, or at least get something going, because you can use that Nib token to go into your links and stuff like that, which is good. Not the Orcust links, but you can go into links. You can go into like IP Masquerena and stuff like that, and because you have Babel and stuff like that, then your effects become quick effects, and you can quickly reestablish your board on your opponent's turn. And then 2 Crescendo, that's just my play. And then we have the triple Bystials, the Dynamic Trio. I've seen some decks play 2 to even 3 of this for this version. I just play 1, 1, and 1. I could play 3 of this. It's not that I don't have 3, I just don't want to. The deck is already at 42 cards. So yeah, I mean, 1, 1, 1. If you want to cut down some hand traps, or say you don't have the Fiendsmith engine, you can play the Lubellions and the Regained. And actually put you at 40 cards, actually, for this deck. But, yeah. The Dynamic Trio. Unfortunately, you gotta play them. The Malice actually play them in the side deck now, because they're actually making a return. They're pretty good. For the Fiendsmith engine, 3 Engraver, which obviously I play 1 Lacrima, which, if you're not playing the Fiendsmith stun, then Lacrima, you obviously only play at 1. If you play the stun, it's at 3. 1 Lurie, 1 Tract. I don't have more than that for tracks. I play Sanct, which is actually still very good. With Droll being as prominent as it is now, if you kind of can guess that your opponent has Droll, if you can kind of figure that out, by the way, you're doing a whole bunch of special summoning from your deck, and your opponent doesn't interact with everything, but you activate that search effect, say, from Engraver, you can get Sanct, and your opponent is just going to be like, oh, here's Droll, and then you have Sanct, and you can play around Droll. Because if you tracked, you can't play around Droll, because you have to search. And then 1 Paradise, which I use Paradise going first card for the, not only that, if your opponent stops you to the point where you can't Caesar, and you have to have a way to get into Desiree you can, and you can always, if you have Paradise, you can always set it. But using Lacrima, dump Paradise on your opponent's turn to then punish them for special summoning, send another card to the graveyard, which this deck is actually really good at. So there's that. Sorry for your ducks barking in the background. I'm going to try to edit that out later. 3 hand traps. All hand traps. 3 Ash, 3 Droll, 3 Crow, 3 Imperm, 1 Called By. I play Droll. It's pretty good against Vanquish Soul, in my opinion, because you can Droll, or you can DD Crow the card away. Droll's just a good card to play right now. DD Crow is good against Luna Light, because it can hit spells and traps. You can hit that Perfume before they can even use it. You can hit the Hound so they can't negate your spells and traps. Stuff like that. Extra deck, 1 Galatea. I only have 1, so I play 1. 2 Galatea, 1 Longirsu, 1 Enlilgirsu. So technically, if you want to be frank, you don't even have to play Longirsu. I don't think it's the best one. It's definitely weaker. It stops you from attacking if you use its effect. But if you can't make Enlilgirsu, Longirsu is the next best thing you can make, because of the ability to shuffle back a card, right? Shuffle back a card, or send one to the graveyard. Like I said, it's really good at that with Babel, making it a quick effect, even better. Enlilgirsu, you have to play it, though. You have to play Enlilgirsu for this deck to fully function. If you don't have it, Longirsu is there. I just don't like Longirsu as much. I don't make it as much. My combos just go straight into Enlilgirsu. And Galatea you have to play 2, because you can recycle it, whatever. But you have to play 2. Being able to set the trap card is ridiculous. If you already have the trap card, being able to set return and being able to use return, should try to fix your hand, get some more advantage, even better. But the rest of the links, 1 IP, 1 access code, is the rest of the links that are like not the Fiendsmith stuff. But you don't have to play IP. And another thing, you don't have to play IP, but IP is good for making the Enlilgirsu on your opponent's turn. And access code's just access code. You have to really play it if you're playing a deck that plays a lot of link monsters. If you want to. Alright, I only played 2 XCs for the Orcust stuff, and it's just 2 ding. That's it. You could cut down the 1. I don't know why you would do that, though. But the Fiendsmith stuff: Moon, Requiem, Sequence, Caesar, Princess, Desi. And Desi is mostly in here for that Paradise, and I could technically side like another Galatea or play Galatea in place of Desi. But like I said, for those times that you can't make Caesar, you can make Desi, which is not as good. The Caesar's basically there because this deck just dies nib. But he's Desiree's here for the Desiree things of being able to send another card to the graveyard. Caesar's the main card you want to play. Look, there's boards that you can make both Desi and Caesar, but your Orcust end of things isn't going to be as good, and it makes you more susceptible to the multiple hand traps or multiple interactions that your opponent's going to have to try to break your board going second. Makes you more susceptible to that because you only have the 2 summon negates, and the Desi can only stop multiple cards at once. So, like I said, it makes you more susceptible. Here's the side deck. The side deck can be varying for anybody. Some people play Nib in the main deck. I play it in the side deck. One cool interaction is I used to actually play this in the main deck for this deck. You activate Nib, and then you chain. With Babel on board, you chain Orcust Nightmare, banishing Orcust Nightmare, or banishing any Orcust card, really. Because they all lock you to only summon Darks. Orcust Nightmare, or whatever one Orcust monster you banish, lock you into Darks. Nib will resolve as much as possible, wiping the field and not summoning anything. But, it's a side deck card for me right now. It's just that interaction that some people don't know about. I like to explain it. It's cool. Free Sister's in here in the side, because not everyone's going to be playing Vanquish Soul, but for the people that are going to be playing Vanquish Soul, going in the time against Vanquish Soul, this card just wins you the game, honestly, because if Vanquish Soul didn't have the clause that they have to activate their effects to be able to special summon, then this card wouldn't be as good. But unfortunately, with them being able to activate their effects to special summon and can search a monster that's going to burn you for 1500, this card alone can just go, oh, they're going to activate, say, Polysuit to special summon itself. You go chain Spooky Dogwood. You don't lose any life points because you're responding to that effect unless they have Called By or whatever. They're going to lose because it's like, oh, we're going in the time. I just special summon a monster has more than 1500 attack. You basically just made me lose because you just gain more life points and I'm able to deal damage to you. 3 Lancia. Lancia is a gimme. Regionals, YCS seasons are coming back around here soon, and my locals is obviously going to have more than 1 Orcust player. I already know 2 people who are going to be playing Orcust, other than myself, or three people other than myself can be playing the deck. The deck's very good. But Lancia is going to be very good against Orcust, depending on what version you're playing. Fiendsmith version makes it a little easier, but you're still not going to end on the greatest. But Lancia is still very good against that. Malice is still going to be good for another while because the ban list not being released until after the World Championship. And so yeah, I mean it's decent against Luna Light because they're not able to banish the negates and able to banish Yellow Martin or Perfume or whatever. So I mean, you could side it against Luna Lights, it's not preferred. I'd rather do is DD Crow. But this last card is Vesper Gearsu. I'm going to have Kaival put a copy of this on screen when he's editing it.
Okay, Master. Let's kill the whole beach!
but this card's cracked. It forces your opponent to send cards to the graveyard, and if not, and if they keep cards on board, then they have to deal with negative effects, other than like one positive effect makes them gain LP, and one positive effect for them makes my LP halved. If they get rid of all their monsters, then my LP's halved, or the person activates this card. If they keep one monster or more, then because you have to apply all the effects that apply based off of them. So if they keep one monster on board, your opponent gains 2,000 LP, which would be them. If they keep two monsters on board, not only do they gain 2,000 LP, but they banish all cards from their hand face up into the end phase. If they keep three monsters on board, so basically like three or more monsters, that means basically that if your opponent basically just doesn't get rid of anything, they cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn because that restriction applies to them. Any cards like, let's say that Liger Dancer that would board wipe you, especially since Vesper's a quick effect, you can do it in draw phase. If they don't have the Hound, say you DD-Crow the Hound, Liger Dancer can't really do anything. So you're basically making them get rid of their Ligers or deal with a whole bunch of stuff that they're not going to be able to play through, especially since this deck can access code, gain bigger attack than Liger, and swing. So, yeah. The last three cards, I know this is 12 cards for the side deck. The last three cards are going to be either Ghost Bell or Ghost Ogre, and Ghost Bell's really good against Vanquished Soul, Ghost Bell's good against Lunalight, Ghost Bell's good against this. And then Ghost Ogre is the other option for me because with Vanquish Soul, they like to have their monsters on board. You Ghost Ogre them. That monster can't stay on board, so they can't return it to the hand to dodge stuff. I'd rather have that effect resolve to get them a card in hand than to be able to dodge stuff, and that's why I think it's pretty decent. And in this deck, you Ghost Ogre, it doesn't really matter because your cards like to be in the graveyard anyway. So yeah, but that's my explanation for everything. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you would change, any cards that you put in, any cards you would take out down in the comments. I like to hear everybody's feedback, and I do try to respond to everybody who does comment. Hope you all have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. See you later.